In a previous video of mine, I've talked about how this road bike is supposed to be the ultimate long distance and cycling adventure machine. And today I want to show you some of the best upgrades I have done to this bike in a long time. And these upgrades specifically focus on the comfort of my bike, which is of utmost importance when you go on long distance rides. So let's jump into the video and let me show you some really interesting products today. If you have been on cycling YouTube for a while, you have seen one name pop up here and there, and that is Redshift. Redshift makes some really nifty products for your bike. Among those are suspension stems, suspension seat posts, pedals, and also handlebars. And the latter one is something that really intrigued me. Redshift has something that is called the Kitchen Sink Handlebar, and that is this one right here. It is a handlebar that is specifically designed for comfort, as well as having such a loop here in the front that you can attach a bag and other accessories to. But that is not the only reason why I asked Redshift for these handlebars. And with that, let me disclose to you that Redshift was too kind as to send these products to me. That includes the handlebars as well as the accessories. But I have not been paid for this video, nor does Redshift know what I'm going to talk about. But with that being said, let's crack on and let me show you what makes these handlebars so interesting to me. We have already established one of the most unique features of these handlebars, and that is this loop in the front. That gives you a couple more hand positions as well as some mounting options for some accessories. But what makes these handlebars so great for long distance rides is that they are specifically designed for comfort. And let me show you what that means. First of all, these handlebars have a raise of 20 millimeter, and that means that the handlebars are lifted up by 20 millimeters. That gives you a bit more of an upright position, which lets you breathe a little easier, and also your back has less strain on longer rides specifically. Furthermore, these handlebars have a 7-degree sweep back, and that means that the handlebars are slightly adjusted to the back, so that when you ride in the tops, your hands have a very natural sort of bent in position. That also gives you a more upright position and helps you stay comfortable. In this case, I have gone for the narrowest option that is available, and that is officially 41 centimeters. But let's have a look at what the actual dimensions are. The claimed 41 centimeters seem to be very much correct. So center to center, the size is 41 centimeters. But here's what is very important. Your hand position is slightly different. These handlebars have a slight flare to the outside, so that makes your hoods slightly scooped in. And the center to center position of the hoods is pretty much exactly 39 centimeters, so quite a bit narrower. The handlebars that I had on here before were 40 centimeters, also at the hoods. And this one is a slight bit narrower, which I quite like. I have pretty narrow shoulders, and the narrower your shoulders are, technically the narrower the handlebar should be. You should have the same width of handlebars as the center points in your shoulders are. And for me, that's pretty much 38 to 39 centimeters. Speaking of flare, flare refers to the degree in the drops of the handlebars to the outside. And in this case, this handlebar is the newest version from Redshift. These are the so-called low flare handlebars, or low flare kitchen sink handlebars. So they have less of a pronounced flare than the quote-unquote normal kitchen sink handlebars. This makes it a bit more suited for road riding and maybe a bit less suited for gravel riding, but in my opinion that's quite personal preference. In addition to the handlebars, Redshift also gave me the opportunity to try out the top grips and the drop grips. These are ergonomic grips that are supposed to help you be comfortable on the bike when being on the bars or in the drops. The top grips really complement the sweep back of the handlebars, and actually this is my new favorite riding position for climbing. Usually in the past when I've been climbing, I used to switch it up. Sometimes I've been in the hoods, sometimes I've been on the bars, but actually with these top grips, I have pretty much always been on the tops because it is such a natural position. This part here gives you a lot of area to rest your palms on, and that is really, really comfortable. So when you're riding at a slight up angle, it is, in my opinion, the most comfortable position to be on. And these top grips really help you be comfortable on longer climbs. And the same also goes for these drop grips. They are really cushy, so they are sort of like a rubber material, but they are really, really grippy. And you sort of angle them at a 45-degree angle according to the instructions, and when you're in the drops, your palm naturally rests right on top of the ridge here, which makes it super comfortable to even be longer in the drops. And because the sort of palm resting area is only at the back, you can still connect your fingers here, which doesn't compromise your control at all. So when you are here in the drops, even with the grips, you have a lot of control over your handlebars. So what do I think of the whole setup? Well, let me tell you, Redshift did not approach me, but I approached Redshift. I wanted this setup specifically because my position on the bike was a little bit too low. So I wanted the front of the setup to be lifted up a little bit. And the raise of these handlebars are quite nice. As I said, it's 20 millimeters. There's a couple of other bars on the market that do the similar thing, but none of them really have the front loop. That is really a Redshift specific thing. And I really like the possibility of integrating a back at the front. Furthermore, even though the front of the handlebars was a little bit too low for me, I really like the reach setup. So I didn't want to flip the stem around, which would also decrease your reach a little bit. So just having the handlebars lifted up a bit seemed to me like the best option for my case specifically. What is great about the bag is that it's so integrated into the handlebar setup. So nothing is rattling around. It's really secure in here. And the build quality is actually phenomenal. So if you lift it up, you can see that the lid of this little bag here is secured with 2 magnets. So actually when you are on the road, you don't even have to zip it up. You can just close it up and it's not rattling around and it's not opening. That is really, really nice because opening and closing these zippers would be quite annoying. So Redshift kind of thought of everything. The interior size of the bag is quite small, I have to say. It is 0.75 liters when it's closed, and there's a little zipper here at the bottom that you can open up in order to make the inner volume to be around a liter, which is a little bit better. Still small, but definitely enough for a couple of snacks or gels. So just for some ride snacks, this is quite perfect. And also for having a small camera up here is also quite nice. So if you like to take photos on your rides, that's definitely a plus. Not everything is perfect though. There's one thing that quite annoys me about this bag. So let me show you what I mean. When the bag is not filled to the absolute brim, it has the tendency to sag a little bit here. And that means it kind of adjusts the position of the computer mount. And the angle is sometimes a little bit too steep for my preference. So my suggestion for an improvement would be to reinforce the back area here so that it's always sort of like a flat angle so that the lid doesn't sag down here at the end. But that is really my only gripe with this setup. If weight is a big consideration for you, this setup is definitely not for you though, because the whole handlebar setup weighs about 500 grams more than my setup weighed before. So that is quite a bit. And because the weight is at a pivot point, the weight is a little bit noticeable, but and that is a big but, the benefits of the setup far outweigh the cost for me. So in terms of weight, I'm not really concerned when it comes to this bike. Let me prove that to you and let me show you what it weighs. The weight of the setup includes all of my ride accessories, my dynamo and light setup, mini pump, my bike computer and the front bag. So let's see what it weighs. All right, lift it up. So as you can see, the setup weighs about 11.5 kilos, not light by any means, but as I said, this bike is not really concerned with weight. After all, it's a steel road bike with a dynamo setup, so it will be a bit heavier. I have honestly never been as comfortable as I have been on this bike on any bike before. Riding on the tops is a breeze, riding in the drops is a breeze, riding in the hoods is also very nice. I really, really like this setup, and this year I want to go for my first 350-kilometer ride, and I'm sure the new setup will play a huge positive role in that. As with most great products, the greatness comes at a price, a financial one that is, and the whole handlebar setup, as it is on here right now, costs about 360 euros. Whether that's worth it is in the eye of the beholder, of course. To me, I really love this setup, and yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about this. If you are interested in the products, they are all linked down below. I do not get a kickback. I do not get an affiliate link. It is just for you. If you really like the products, check them out. And with that being said, I hope you have gotten anything out of the video or at least found it entertaining. And in any case, have a great week. Bye bye.